Good morning, you guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you this morning? I hope you can hear me, but we. Hey, how are you? What is going on? I know it is early in the morning. That's the time I get up and I'm with my friend because you know what I'm doing after this? I'm going to speak with my friend that's in New York. So let's get started with what we're going to talk about today. So, things are changing. Time has changed. We've gone into fall, a whole new season. And, a lot of things are changing in probably a lot of people's lives. And, what is this season for everybody? It could be a season of turmoil, it can be a season of trust, it can be a season of pure bliss, or it can be a season where you just don't know what's going on. It's okay. It's a season, and this too shall pass. I wanted to talk to you today about success and communicating in that success because I think it's important for everybody to understand what success means to them and how do you communicate that, right? So why I started Coffee with Dr.T is, it was my chance to get with my best friend in New York and we say, hey, what's going on? How are you? So this morning, that's always going to be my first question. How are you? Right? Well, let's take care of some business while we're at it. Go up there and get in today's mitts early, 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 right? And you want to be you want to wake up. So go grab your cup of coffee while I just get something else here on the screen. That's a good thing about, going live. Sometimes, you realize some things that you might have forgotten. You just go on and fix it up, right? There we go. So tonight is we moved it to tonight a little later. It was this afternoon, but there was a conflict in schedule. My baby girl has a volleyball tryout today. So yeah, trying to have some normalcy in this time. This has been rough on a lot of families and relationships and just a whole myriad of businesses and all of that. So when we talk about success, I just wanted to find out what exactly, is your success for you and how you're communicating it. Because sometimes success is about, you know, who you do things with. And one of the problems with being a solo entrepreneur like myself is that you very rarely have a chance to reinforce your best habits. Chances are that you live in a community where people procrastinate, play video games, overdose on fried food, and possibility love distractions. Right. So, you may not have a community that's really working for you as a solo practitioner or a single entrepreneur, and how do you gather that, right? Some people are just not on board with what you're doing, and then some people may just have a back seat of what you're doing, not necessarily meaning that they're not on board with you, but they still support you, but they're just not within your business, right? And sometimes that could be family, that could be friends, that they kind of help support you. However, they're not actually involved in your business. And then you have people that, may say they're going to help you, but take a little moment to really help you. And then you need to really, you're struggling a little bit with trying to get things processed and moving, which is okay because you're only one person, right? And so I don't want you to think that you're doing this all alone. And so success isn't always about what you do, and we'll continue with that. It's not always about what you do. Okay. So, and in order to break away from these influences, We must exert a great deal of energy blocking them out and telling ourselves um, that we'll do things differently. And some people even take pride in this wrong headed approach, right? But what if you could form a new community, right? O- And one based on positivity and mutual support. Wouldn't it be great if instead of having to rely on ourselves completely, other people can support us when we are down and get us energized about the success happening all around us. See, sometimes we think that we failed, and sometimes that failure can lead to success. That's why the model that we have when you first come on to the to our site is, struggles lead to success. You're going through life and you're going to have struggles. And that's just it. You're not going to be on the same page with everybody. That's just it. But I think we've gotten so polarized that we feel as though that everybody has to be right. And that's not the case. You know, my truth is my truth and your truth is yours. But how do we marry the two? And I think we'll be better for it if we're able to visualize that. How do you marry the fact that you're an entrepreneur or you're wanting to be an entrepreneur and you're just not getting that support? How do you marry the fact that, you know, it is a struggle right now in COVID-19, but yet you know that you have something in you to really push through this and really um, soar, right? How do you do that? So form a dynamic marketing community. So start looking for people who you can interact with on a regular basis. So I know for me, we're now in this social media world. So for me, I had to find my target audience. And so part of that target audience was going into Facebook groups and just figuring out whether or not that these groups will be a good tool to market your business, whether it be online or brick and mortar. So if you look back at, I did a quote the other day. Let me see if I can find it. Give me one second. I did a quote the other day that was really good. So if you're talking about, where you want to go with your business, especially now that we are probably going into a second wave of this pandemic. If you haven't already figured it out, that, the way that we're connecting is through the computer. Okay. So in 2020, there are 3.8 million people actively using social media in the world. And this is an increase of 9.2 year on year from 3.48 billion in 2019. So back in 2015, there were only 2.07 billion users on social network growth rate. So users. So network growth rates since then have averaged 12.5% year on year. Okay. So what does that mean? That says a lot. That says even if you have a brick and mortar, this might even be a chance for you to get forward, right? So when we're asking you, how are you doing? You know, have you put it? I've been trying to get you to put in the mind frame of trying to shift your mindset as it pertains to success, right? As it pertains to success, shifting your mindset as it pertains to success. Don't forget to let me know who's watching. I see the numbers going back and forth. Say, hey, Dr. T, say good morning, and grab your coffee or your tea or your juice or whatever feel free to do so. So, where should you go? right? That's where we are. So find like-minded friends, right? So here's the thing. It's tough to round up a random bunch of people on message boards, expect them to um, coexist into a motivated community. The chances of success are much better when you have people who have specialized skills and some level of past success. And some level. See, it doesn't say that you have to be this mogul. It just says some level, right? They don't have to be millionaires, right? Everybody keeps thinking, oh, you got to be a millionaire. No, you don't. But they should have a portfolio, a finished blog, a completed project, something that indicates the ability or desire to start a project and see it to its completion, right? So for me, if I'm looking now to build Sustain Your Business Academy, because I'm only teaching you a portion, and that's giving you sustainable business solutions from my perspective. But I want to build on that and have more people come in and use the platform to teach. Right? That's why I call it an academy. You're not you don't go to a college where it's only one professor. Mm-mm. Even if your child was in, let's say, my daughter went to Hill Freeman World Academy. You have a principal, you have a dean, you have a Spanish teacher, you have a plethora of of educators. So why not think about joining Sustain Your Biz Academy? I'm just putting a little plug in. I know that if you have something that you want to teach or sell or introduce to a new place of people that may be like-minded, right? So you need to get in tune with who are those people around. So let's now take it off of social media. You now want to be around people that are like-minded, that's going to exude positivity, right? We are living in such a horrible time right now that you want to kind of build up. That's why I talked about affirmations. That's why I talked about, making sure that you're in a positive headspace. Because at the end of the day, you can't affect anybody else's life if in a positive light if you're not positive yourself, right? So I'm not saying that you will never be negative. I'm not saying that, that things are going to be easy. However, I want you to just think about putting that out there. So for me, what I'm looking for group of bloggers, group of professionals on the web that already exist. Um, I'm sticking my toe in the water, right? Before I actually really think about whether or not this is what I want to do. And I give you that chance. That's why I have this speaker series. That's why I have all these things, right? And so introduce yourself and make friends. Let me tell you, this has been an amazing journey because I'm meeting people from California, from Maine, from oh my gosh, Florida. These are from all over here, still here in Philadelphia. That without social media, I would never met these networks. I am networking. And so without this big old world that we live in, 3.48 billion people are on social media. Do you know how with this pandemic it's going to continue to rise? So why not find that community, within itself? For example, my church, we are now, trying to build communities, at Dare to Imagine. Go to www.dtyc.org and let them know that I sent you there. But yeah, we have kid stuff online. We have so much that we are trying to do because we are not kind of in person, right? So when you're looking for that, you want to see people that are in alignment with you, right? So you want to find like-minded people. And that's with anything. That's even when we were, face to face. You wanted to find like-minded friends. And even with the like-minded friends, I give you an example of one of my good friends. We were friends in optometry school. And then we became roommates, right? And then we were like, this is not working. We're just going to have to. I knew that I cherished her friendship and we parted, and we've been friends ever since. We was not roommates, we just couldn't live together, but we were friends. We've been friends for almost 30 years. So I say that to say, look for groups that are going to build you up and that you can work in. That's why I love the Christian money makers building big things. If you go over there, you know, if you're a woman and you're a Christian and and you're in business, sorry about that, go over there and check it out. Become part of the community and let them know I sent you. Say, Dr. T sent me. Yes. So what should you do? Right? So what should you do? So now that after a couple of weeks of steady contributing to the group, right? Try asking try making your own group. And that's what I did. We have Sustain Your Biz private group. Anybody can come on there. I post in there and I created Sustain Your Biz LLC, which is the business entity. Again, we are almost at 100. So I'm looking for more people to join that group. My goal was to have 100 by October, but why don't we rock out and try to get 100? This is my birthday month, so get 100 by the end of this month. If we go over, that would be amazing, right? So then the other thing is, um, next, what should you do? At first, get to know each other, build emotional bonds. This seems a little bit cheesy, right? But there's a reason why groups like AA make everyone tell their personal story. So, what's your personal story? Share it in a group. It's important for you to have a personal interest in the people and in your group, right? It's personal. These groups that we're in now need to be personal to you. How are they doing it? And that's why I talked about the numbers, right? Because sometimes we get so into those numbers that we think that this is such an amazing group, right? But remember, it also can be just advertising to get your information. So be careful, right? But yeah, you want to still build a community, and then is this a group? And I'm just gonna call it out there. Some people like big churches, and some people like the smaller churches. Some people like mid-sized churches. How is it? Some people love to have 50 million friends, and some people just love to have a handful of friends. So you feel me? But they all should be in the same alignment with your goal and your aspirations and where you're trying to do. Okay. And that's with anything in life. So that's either with your one-on-one relationships and um your social media relationships, right? So when should you make these introductions? So start chasing your goals together. Obviously, you'll have your individual goals that you're working toward, but look at activities that bind you as a team. There's no I in team, as a team. So work on large projects that require accountability, or just read the same book on a monthly basis. And you know what? I think I'm gonna start that. I just took my own advice. I'm gonna post some books that I'm reading. All right. And then it's inevitable that some people will drop the ball along the way, right? So finding some obstacles. Every community style group has different approaches toward keeping their flock together, right? So not every whoever is the creator of that group, you have to kind of follow that, right? So they have their own different approach, and you just have to be in line with that approach. And that's the same thing with most successes, right? You want to create a space, even in your own business or your own practice. You want to create a space where it's an alignment, that although you might have different approaches, that you still are keeping everything together. So not one approach is better than the other. Okay. And then first, you should remember to always keep the door open. Never close a door, no matter what disappointments you encounter from a person along the way, right? It's the group responsibility to always be civil, to be cordial to one another so that they feel welcome back if they leave altogether. And that's with anything, even like with church or, another social group or whatever. You always want to, although you may not, a lot of times people get in their feelings and they don't they don't see each other's value, And when one doesn't see the other person's value, the other one, of course, gets devalued. But then it's like, oh well, if you don't value my opinion, then I'm just gonna leave. No, it's you just don't value the opinion, but that doesn't make what you feel wrong, and that doesn't make that other person superior than what you are, right? So you want to make sure that you don't, as I always say, don't burn bridges. You know, make sure that you stay kind of focused on where you are. Although it may not, and leave in a civil manner, right? Because you don't want to burn bridges. You want to try to coexist within those groups, because you never know when you have to come back to them, right? So, second, when it's time to get someone back on the wagon, right, approach them on a one-to-one basis. So, a lot of times people are posting some stuff. I just had this with our teens, right? That the power of social media, and when people are hating on one another, that they post, how they hate on social media. Don't do that, right? You want to do that on a one-on-one basis. You want to put some all that negativity out there, and it's just not cool, right? There's nothing wrong with using the pressure of a group in a drastic situation, but many people will respond better in a quiet correction of an individual. So, that is, where you are. So that's how you communicate, right? So you want to be sure that you try to effectively communicate, and don't be afraid to tell your truth. Sometimes truth hurts, and that goes for both ways. Um, and is there a way for you to work it out? There should be. You know. So stay encouraged. Remember that a community's goal should be to empower. I'm going to read that word again. Empower everyone. So no matter what you're in, it should empower you, right? Not set small groups against each other. So if you're in one group, you shouldn't be like, oh, this group is better. No, that's you don't want to do that. And that's with anything, even with a relationship. How you have a group of friends. Matter of fact, I was just talking with that with some teens that there's some friends in a group, and one person is talking about the other, and it just makes somebody feels like they're a little outcast. So you don't want to do that. The one is better than the other. The more unified, I'm going to repeat that word, the more unified you are in a relationship, in a group or friendship, you are in your purpose and your methods, the less friction you'll have and the less chance you'll have to fail. So I always say failure is not an option. However, failure also leads, when you realize that something is going wrong, you need to look at it, you need to try to adjust it, and that leads to more success for you, right? Failure is not a no, failure is not anything bad. It's just a means of realigning and readjusting, and maybe knowing that it's not working. And then you want to work toward fixing it, right? You want to work toward fixing it. Um, and that's just how it is. Just want to work toward fixing it. So remember, don't put people down. Don't try to burn bridges, in a sense. Be as honest and as you can be. And you don't want your voice to be stifled, because when your voice is stifled, when something comes up, it may kind of erupt like a volcano, and you really don't want that. So, but if that happens, be prepared, right? Be prepared. So as we move in about success, and how the communities and how you communicate with that, you definitely want to make sure that you're in line with what you want as a success. That's it. Again, it's success has nothing to do with being a millionaire, billionaire, or whatever. Success is how you view yourself. What do you see for yourself? If you go in there, we have the free checklist, right? Did you do your checklist for the year? Like what's on your bucket list? Like where do you want to go? And how do you want to put that all together in your travel bag? right? How do you want to put that in a box for yourself? So exude positivity as much as you can. Share your personal story. And the reason why I say share your personal story, I'm not telling you to put people out there or name names. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is sometimes people think that they're alone in a situation and that nobody else is going through it. So sometimes, you can put it out there and somebody actually is 3 point, what did I say? 3.48 billion people. So out of that 3.48 billion people, somebody can relate to what you're going through. Somebody can relate to what's going through, and that person you might be able to assist or help. So don't forget to, think about everything that I've said. Again, it's life is full of failures. You just have to kind of see where you are with that and sit in it, and whether or not you're willing to fix it. I would say almost like a car engine, right? You have all of those components of an engine in a car, or even like a team, like you have different positions in a team. However, if one is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then either the whole team has to kind of lift that up to make a win, or they have to be like, come on, let's go, you can do this, we need you to get out of your head and get in there. I know sometimes when I was talking to my daughter with volleyball, she would get in her head that I can't do this, I can't block, I can't, I'm not fast enough. No, come on. Be a beast at that wall. Be a beast at that volleyball net, Have that in your mind, right? And so when you're doing that, you're exuding somebody, you're encouraging people to lift themselves up, even if they feel as though they're a failure, and lift themselves up and saying, no, you're not a failure. In this, you might not have done well in, and that's what I say, you may not have done well in it, but it doesn't make you little than anybody else. It doesn't make you smaller than anybody else. It just makes it that you need to look at it and see how you can kind of make things work a little bit better. So that's what I have for you today. Be encouraged, as you go out your week today, weekend. And just remember that here at Sustain Your Biz Academy, we want you to win. And with Coffee with Dr. T, it's just a matter of, making sure that we ask the question, how are you? How are you feeling today? You know, where are you? It is my goal to make sure I try to exude as much positive influence in your life as you can, and bring in awareness that it's so your mindset is important, and what you deem to be successful is what you deem to be successful, and everybody's not perfect, so you definitely have to be reminded of that. Everybody has their flaws and their faults, and we just have to figure out how to be in that situation, be in that moment together. Okay. Create opportunities for yourself, And again, there's 50 million groups out there. I'm pretty sure that you can find a group that will work for you. And when you do, you will know. So be encouraged today with that. Don't forget to get the class is 50% off today. Then don't forget to understand that here at Sustain Your Biz as your life and business coach, that, the reason why we're doing some of these things and some of the lives is that then you get to see how I work as a life and business coach. So these are some of the free opportunities that you can say, hey, Dr. T, what you said is cool. So don't forget to talk with me online if you agreed with anything that I said. If this has added value to anything today, add value. If there's a topic that you want me to discuss, I'm always researching, I'm always bringing the numbers. So you can always say, hey, Dr. T, can you touch on this? Or if you want to come on, we can do a talk together, right? Because it's not just always my voice. I don't want to always just hear my voice. And that's why I built the academy. It's not just my voice. And then two, get the coupon. That's my little dollar coupon for you, so you can get some coffee today. And so as we are building this community, don't forget you need to go over to Sustain Your Biz to Win and follow that page and become a part of Sustain Your Biz private group. Also, don't forget to go to YouTube and like Dr. TOD, subscribe, and don't forget the bell up at the top that will give you announcements of when I'm coming on live. And then also, follow on Instagram at 2020 Eye Doctor. I think next week I'm going to hone in on more eye care stuff as well next week for you. Since this is the end of the year, you want to kind of use your insurance as a plug. So you'll see more about that. And so, as we end this broadcast, what do I always say? I want you to win in this season. What does winning mean? Welcoming in the new you, investing in yourself, and to never, ever give up on you. Be blessed.